So, hey there, folks. Get ready for an exciting episode of Talk Through Thursday, featuring none other than Mr. Mehernosh Daruwalla. Namaskar, kaise hai aap?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And a warm namaskar to everybody over here.
So, with your workplaces becoming more diverse than ever, we have seen till now, have you
Right.
ever had a training session where you witnessed something truly heartwarming? Like people from different backgrounds coming together and like forming real connections with you or with each other or with the world after like getting trained by you.
Speaking about forming connections and coming from diverse backgrounds, so there was an opportunity which I'd come across where I was called, and this was through a friend, and he said that there's somebody who wants to connect with you. He was the second generation entrepreneur after his father. Taking over the business. He had already taken it over, and it was a couple of months or a year or so. And they were in the transition phase where the first generation was now slowly handing over the mantle to the second generation. Well, the father had run the business for close to 20 to 30 years. He had his way of working and his styles of working. Now, once the son stepped in, he had a different way of working, different leadership style that he followed. He brought certain changes into the organization. It wasn't a very big cooperative. They were about team of total 25 to 30 professionals from mid to senior level management. It was a workshop. They were into manufacturing of industrial machines for rollerblades. Task was to align management and the working mid to senior level management with the new generation's thought process. So they said, can we in Mehernosh conduct like something like a training where there are certain changes that we want to bring about. So at this point in time, I had suggested them an outbound. So I suggested a one-day outbound workshop where we get the entire team together. We jotted certain values, certain thought processes that we wanted to instill in them or bring them out through the mode of activities, which is usually that we do in an outbound setting, where it's a little relaxed, a little informal setting, keeping the professional boundaries in place. We did that because what had happened was in the organization there were people who were still working for 15 years and 20 years, and they were very senior. They had great experience. They came from a space where they had seen this young boy who's now taking over actually growing up in front of them. Now the challenge was that this young boy had taken over as the CEO. Now you're reporting to that person as a CEO. It's not an easy space to come from. And they also for 15 to 20 years were used to a particular style of working, which was from his father, and they were tuned to that. Now there was this person who had come, and nobody had any bad intentions. Everybody's intentions were towards the prosperity of the company and the organization. Everybody, I mean, even the middle to top management team, they were very good at what they were doing because they were highly skilled, highly experienced. Today, very rarely do you get organizations where you have people who have stayed in that same organization for 15, 20 years. So they were very good people. The CEO was that I don't want to lose them, but I want to gain their trust. I want them to, and I want them to also trust me with the kind of work that I'm going to put in to take this organization ahead. And I want them to know that this is as much as mine as it's theirs. We are all one team. So somewhere to align, they were all coming from very diverse thought processes. And but however, the intent of everybody's thought process was the same, to get the organization up and grow with it. I did think, and I did take it up as a challenge because here we were working on values and mindset. And I always tell this in training that working on skills is much easier than working on values and mindsets. That's something which is there. So I told them this, that we will make an effort through this experience of outbound, and some great learning, some great pointers came out. And I had a call after a couple of weeks from this training to the person, and he said, Mehernosh, it really helped break that ice because I had never got this chance to be at a level with them. And they had never seen the side of me where, so he said that definitely helped a lot in easing things at levels. He said our meetings and discussions started becoming very open where they would share their concerns openly with me, and I would be able to give the right suggestions to them. And that happened, which definitely helped in a lot of things. I think it was great. The experience was good. For me, it was one of the unique projects that I have worked on. There was no particular skill that was necessary in terms of to be imparted or something, but it was more to do with, like I shared, the mindsets and values and getting everybody on the same page. I think that worked really very well.
And I think that only happens when you mold and customize the training according to the audience. And this was the third story which we heard from you, and it was totally different from what the other two were. And
Right.
this totally showcases that you are like molding and customizing your sessions. Am I right on that?
Yes, absolutely. See, that's the whole point. I mean, we're not in an industry where one size fits all. It's not like socks. I mean, if you have programs that are just there, which are standardized, yes, we can have standardized programs, but those programs would only work for a certain set of audience. And every time your audience changes, the profile changes, their needs changes. What I would share here, it's like going to a restaurant. A restaurant has a menu. However, if you like your dish in a particular way, you could always suggest it that I would like it this way. And the one of the good restaurants that you would know will make it the way you would like it. They wouldn't say that, nahi, ye dish to aise hi banta hai, aapko khana hai to khaiye, nahi to thank you. Right? If you tell them that I would like it this way, they would do it this way for you. And that's what it is. And that's why you go there for. You go for that experience. So that's what I mean. I'm from hospitality, so I relate it from there and I bring it back here. That it is very important for you to take care of the needs of your customer.
Very rightly mentioned. And when you're creating your customized training sessions and programs for organizations or any individual, how do you make sure you're not just meeting their goals, but also tapping into that emotional need of their employees or that particular individual? How do you make sure that?
But I think I do two things which have worked for me, and when I speak about sometimes emotional needs of my clients. One is, and this happens also in two programs I know much more than other programs. One is a program which I called FTM, which is for first time managers. So these are people who have been put in leadership roles or managerial roles for the first time, and they're managing a team. So we have a program for them which we kind of curate. And then there's the other one which is campus to corporate, where the young minds are taken up for almost a year, and we do like a management training program for them for an organization. Now, these are two instances where I feel the person is at a threshold. They're transitioning from one phase to another phase. So one is that while you are curating these programs, you have to include a lot of space for giving them time during the sessions to express. It can't be just a session where you are standing there and continuing to give your knowledge, gyan of how to do things by having like more of a one-way communication and just having them to gain and absorb. If you're not allowing them to speak, if in your session, if you're not planning activities or spaces or reflective questions which make them think and allow them to share what they are going through in the class, you're going to not give them the same experience and learning. That is one part which I feel. And the second part which I feel is that as a trainer, it has worked for me. I see after the session, I'm not somebody who's rushing to get out of the place. I usually stay back till the end, till at least my last participant has not gone away. That's it's just as a practice that I do. I'm not somebody who likes to do my stuff and go. So I wait till everybody's exited because I know for sure that towards the end there will be a couple of them who would want to come, who would want to connect. who would want to talk, who would want to share something that probably they didn't get a chance while they were in the session or they did not feel comfortable. And that's the space that I give them and the time that I feel that it's just doing justice to that, because that's the differentiating factor that you put on the table as a trainer. So I think these two things have really worked well. And I make sure that when I'm conducting, especially like I shared these programs, when somebody's at the threshold, transitioning from one role to another role, like in campus to corporate, it's like from a student to a professional. In first-time managers, it's like from an active team member, a senior team member to a leader. You're at a threshold, and there are too many things going on in your head.
Well, that's fantastic. And talking of all the skill set you have and all the skill development you have done till now for yourself, of course, you're great at making strategies. What's one piece of advice you will give that really hit home for someone and maybe even impacted their whole life in a profound way? Can you share a story about that?
There have been times that I have connected with a lot of individuals and they have connected with me kind of whenever they've got stuck at some places. I don't know if that's what I share with them would be mentoring, but there are times people take it that way. And there are times that happens sometimes on, I wouldn't say daily basis, but once in a while they do connect with me and they think that Mehernosh is one person with whom if we talk and connect, he's going to tell us whatever he knows. From day one, I have somehow never had Barkha that insecurity of keeping things with me. Like I come from a space of sharing, and that's a very strong personal value to me. And I've always believed that knowledge only increases by sharing; it never reduces. The piece of advice that I've given, one is as a mentor, that when you want to learn something, whether it's a skill or whether it's when you want to gain some knowledge or when you want to acquire a new learning, I feel do your research and learn it from the best. Because when you're learning, don't have make any compromises. Get somebody who's doing that, going to give you the best quality, who's going to give you the value for the price that you're going to pay to learn that skill. Do your research well in that. Don't just hop on to anyone who you see today is providing that service, because when you're learning something you want a great experience, so that's very important. And the second advice that I keep telling a lot of them who have started their journeys and who are looking out, that you start as an entrepreneur. And a lot of them think that, now I'm my own boss and I can do things my way. Yes, you are your own boss and you can do things your way. But the part of entrepreneurship which sometimes we forget is that as an entrepreneur, you're not just your own boss, but you're also your own slave. And you should never forget that. So put in the same number of hours that you would have put in for a job. And that's very, very important. And this is what sometimes happens, that once you become an entrepreneur, you tend to feel that, okay, now I can work like, 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, and that's fine. But that's not going to yield you the kind of results that you're looking at. Today, if you were at a job, would you work for 3 to 4 hours? No, you would work for at least 8, 9, 10 hours a day, right? And you got to do the same as an entrepreneur as well. So that's something which is really, really important for you to do that, because then is when you will start seeing the results that you intend to. Yes, you are your own boss, but and I tell them that if I have to take a day off from my work, it's the most difficult thing, because I have to ask for leave from myself, and that is the most difficult thing. So realize this part, that your every day is counted as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you don't work for 20 days or 22 days like you do in a job. There's no Monday to Friday. I've been working on Sundays, I've worked weekends. It's any day when there is work needs to be done, it needs to be done. You're working at nights, you're working during days, you're working in the evenings. And you ask any entrepreneur who's become a unicorn, you ask, look at read the success stories. Go and ask them that were you like following like a Monday to Friday pattern? You could ask the startup stories. No, they were working 24/7. They were working on building on the dream that they had, right? So it's a choice that you have to make. If you want to get there to get those results, then you have to, be there and work really hard for it. So be at it, give that time to yourself.
And also, it's not a easy journey because the results may seems to be smooth and very fascinating, but the journey, if we follow, is not always a smooth road. It's bumps
Easy.
comes
Nothing is easy.
first. Yeah,
Even a job is difficult, right? So job is
definitely.
hard and entrepreneurship is hard. What the choice you have to make is choose your heart. Choose your heart well,
Yeah,
right? So
the
which
worthy
heart,
heart we want to
yeah,
face.
the
Yeah.
heart that you want to work on. That's important. Even in job, I mean, I never say that I've done a job. Job is also not easy. Everything is hard. When you're moving into a new job, there are too many things that you are, adjusting. There's a new environment, there's a new boss, a new company, new culture. So you're doing that over there as well. But then the same thing needs to be done when you become an entrepreneur as well.
Totally agree. And till now, we know that, like from your stories, that emotions play a very important role in personal as well as professional growth. And you're doing it, like balancing it very well. Hats off to you for
Thank
that.
you.
And you're doing great. If you have to leave a message to the listeners, and how do you hope to emotionally connect and inspire those who hear a story? How do you consciously do that?
I think when it's about your emotional intelligence, Barkha, a lot of your self-awareness, plays a very important role. And this is, I think, what we also teach when we conduct sessions on, AI and upping the game in your emotional quotient. Your self-awareness about your present emotions, your self-awareness about the emotions of the person who's in the situation with you, plays a huge role. Post that, learning consciously how to manage your emotions plays a key role. It's a skill that can be learned by, and today a lot of courses that we do help us in just becoming more conscious. Nothing else but just being more conscious. So I think self-regulation and self-management of our own emotions by being aware helps a lot in, and that's helped in multiple situations, personal, professional, and that's what I would say is the key. So that's where today, even for leaders, emotional intelligence has become a very key aspect to be considered.
Oh, well said. Thank you. As we wrap up this episode, let's remember to keep soaring into new heights and empower those around us. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay curious and keep striving for greatness. Ta-da!